Mayamo Bibia Ahama Kwaba from Cstv News 24 Esumbrena Susame Tregu or my will be my Sunday Sinkungwa Yereka so at the Eba Besomo 97 should be able to ma Ankasa Sobakaya OSP who says Abeto a drama to say the Copiamo our Supreme Court na Supreme Court etni agility and Musam so ye de Eba Besomo 924 at the Sababa Betwejo Chebu said Kaneshi Quantum Pono a bono busumi de beto so and so afin pinoni adwenu ensiemu no wo ba beto esa ekwan no weni nsema hodo ande wie yetin kungwa ye de kase no so e de e ba beso mo national so say you stream live wo YouTube Cstv video kwa like share na fen so afoforo so entimi enye bi enhwe ediem de so ayamame ama ba for me na ye hutoye ba ye de munche mankasa no ebeso mo Erase yebasha yakasia no asidi ni kwa kuchiremu Ghana mampeni akacho mampeni John Dramani Mahamandra da anachese wodin krata ebetu edwa ese oswafo no ehwe edwuma ne apade semu eso na edwuma chese woye ewo honom no chese sakraya abemu na afenso afoforo mienu be enso ekan ho mekase Dr. Abdul Rashid Hassan Pepwo ade se yeyi no Free Minister for Labor, Employment and Jobs. Apadi ne inyuma insanso de akọ Minister for State for Special Initiative. Na on for Ernest Broja Jemfi ononso na kanno ye osafo abedechra ohwe bambo ho ensen na meka say de ya boni din se won kosom as presidential advisor ewo national resilience and emergency preparedness and afeso on for Emmanuel Kujo Ejekum and so yetimi amano apadi ni inyuma swafo se onono onkosum ewo sabia intindrada ana sankrata no ebepie a omampeni edsa essence asena mayefri sa ensem no eso na yemfa yeni entremu ewo insem fufro mu aye kopiemu ewo OSP na kache so bekaya and nansentem na no ada na chese krofobi ade nkrata kodan eye Supreme Court as OSP ejumedi awodi no enso eni wose ejumedi awodi no wose yetimi agi free ne sa nemom no asem no ekodi eye Supreme Court etimi edi eboaya OSP ejuma no oguswa ye na ode abasobo ade ama Supreme Court so mutimi ejina nechi ade ejuma wose oye edesum Ghana no in the Ogusu Elsum.
The Supreme Court decision should be celebrated. It has set matters clear as to the functions and operations of the OSP and the coexistent relationship between the Attorney General and the OSP. It has greatly strengthened the fight against corruption, and it is upon the decision of the Supreme Court that I declare a rebirth of the OSP. We will show no fear or favor. We will remain resolute in the lawful discharge of our mandate. We will rigorously investigate cases. We will vigorously prosecute cases where the evidence indicates wrongdoing. We will actively recover assets. We will take all necessary steps to prevent corruption. This is
na OSP kisi ejaben na kasawie cheno sanso ede etu edwa wochebu ese enkrofo bi ede katasomo mwaso hunsen bi bata OSP ejuma cheso wo eye no ehu ne sani ntino wase sankrofo ni ninanu oba begina ne naso pampense sene be ya ababua ama wona wo pese OSP ejuma wo ye ede esumo mangana no se ejuma no enhwe ase no wase omoba betena asepa na afeso
recognizing that the fight against corruption will persistently be heckled by the pushback of corrupt actors, we have championed and we will continue to champion that the powers of anti-corruption agencies should be enlarged and enhanced, especially in respect of two main indices. First, global anti-corruption best practices indicate that broad-based lifestyle audit, non-conviction-based asset recovery represents the fairest and optimal method of frontally addressing corruption and unexplained wealth. Therefore, we have championed and will continue to champion that institutions like the OSP and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, (EOCO), should be invested with express and effective lifestyle audit, non-conviction-based asset recovery powers to assure that persons show legitimate sources of income sufficient to justify their ownership of property. Therefore, where a person's resources far outstrip his legitimate income, the unexplained portion should be liable to confiscation. This will also be a critical tool to detect fraud and undeclared income for tax purposes. Added to this, conviction after criminal proceedings should not be a condition precedent for asset recovery. Civil proceedings should suffice. Second, we have championed and will continue to champion the institution of a reverse onus clause of a presumption of corruption tied to lifestyle audit. Therefore, where a person is in possession of property disproportionate to his known legitimate sources of income, he should be deemed to have obtained it through corrupt means unless he proves the contrary. This proposed unexplained wealth mechanism is not a shortcut around justice or a license for arbitrary confiscation. On the contrary, once the appropriate legal threshold is established before a civil court, unreconcilable assets not traced to legitimate sources of income should be liable to confiscation.
Na yebefri sansem no esoni de ni atremo ewo ensem foforo mu a ye ko eye swafo a no kanene na cheso ye managing director de Emma Tema Oil Refinery ye friend se Asante Kweku Beko ne honsem ba ye se wabra no oil managing director ewo eye Tema no na chese sika bi efa ne sanse wa fimpinu ni edu enan ekosi afin pinu ni edu enum no sika bi efa ne sanse ana chese okopie mu ewo US mine emu chese ama omanga na hanso ekoba ye se ye hwehwemu de afa ehuna enu ana OSP de nsema babetu edwa wo chirebo sika afa ensase no nipa insia ana se nipa 9 bi eka ho a emu nsem eni.
Conviction of Asante Kweku Beko in the United States does not provide automatic basis for the prosecution of identified persons who acted with him under Ghanaian law. Circumstances of the case are such that the actions of Beko may not necessarily establish culpability in other persons under Ghanaian law. The OSP will not prosecute a person solely on the basis that a person's name appears in proceedings conducted in another country. Equally, the OSP will not hesitate to prosecute such persons where the evidence establishes a proper basis for so proceeding. As I stated earlier, we have been carefully investigating the Ghana dimension, and our public silence has not meant inaction. Our involvement with the case and the evidence so far enable us to identify the following as the main persons of interest in this case. 1. Kwabena Donko, who was at all times the Minister of Power. 2. Francis Walkson Kwesi Jata, at all times the technical advisor to the Minister of Power. 3. Solomon Ajete Sowa, at all times a deputy director at the Ministry of Power. Lyndon George Nisor Metal, at all times a director at Tricop Group Limited. And Bafo Ankuma Robe, at all times an employee at Tricop Group Limited. These are our main persons of interest for the time being. Other persons of interest include some present and former employees of Volta River Authority, Ghana Great Company Limited, Electricity Company of Ghana, Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, and some staff of the entity formerly known as the Ministry of Power. Please bear in mind. And this
Na yɛbɛfiri sansɛm no ɛso na yɛde ani akyerɛ mu ɛwɔ nsɛm foforɔ mu a yɛkɔ ɔman mu mmarahyɛ badwafie na nanu ada na bɛto edwa ɛsɛ Speaker of Parliament Aban Case for Sumana Bagben ɔde nsɛm ato edwa ɛsɛ mmarahyɛ badwafo ni na ɛwɔ sɛ ɔmutumi ɛba mmarahyɛ badwa na afei so ɔmampani paw ɛyɛ mmarahyɛ badwafo mekyerɛ Zinato Agyeman Rollins na afei so Mahama Ayarega ɛsɛ wɔn kɔsom no ɛno ɛnam so Manchester Speaker of Parliament Echebu Edia nefo nu na wode esu na afi saa edwumedia aba no obetimi akɔho asetena na afi so omotimi ebobo ho nende ya mekase don kuma mo amrahye bogefie ana omode esubo no ebo don dodo no ese wohwe nefo nu ma Speaker of Parliament de eba yese yebekɔ asetena na afi so nsɛm bi ewo ho no yetimi abobo ho no kame akɔye se saa nsɛm nanse wabra che so kopie mu ewo mrahye be asetena che se ekoso no hwe entimi amba so na owra ono ogine mu a wakasa ye oye mrahye bedwene ndema adehia wo walewale Dr. Mahama Abdul Karim Karu and che so wode nsɛm we etu edwa enubi.
The speaker rudely recall us from our recess where we're engaging with our constituents as part of our civic and parliamentary responsibility to the people of Ghana. We are to come back basically to do three things. One, to consider and possibly approve the Depositors Protection Amendment Bill, which was one of the reasons why the Speaker recalled us back to attend to. The second thing was to consider the appointment, the nominees of ministers of state. And the third one was to consider the nominees appointed to the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana. These were the three main businesses, even though we in the minority had other businesses of equal importance, i.e. a motion filed by the minority to investigate the losses that have been occasioned by Gold Board. The Speaker was very clear when we met on the first day, on Monday, that he wanted to limit the business of the House to those matters that necessitated the recall of Parliament. We reluctantly agree with the Speaker that the matters should be limited to the reasons why they recall Parliament. But you've seen, today is the third day of the 5 days that we've been recalled to sit. Effectively, we have wasted about 75% of the time. And I'm seeing a situation where the government wants us to, rush through a single day of everything. That has been very characteristic of this government, to use a single day to railroad everything that they want to go through in a single day. That is not democracy. So these are the issues that we think that the Ghanaian people should know. Even when they were going to address you, you realize that they didn't even have numbers to come and stand down to even explain why they are adjourning the House. The minority who is not even supposed to be prosecuting government business, we are here in our numbers to support the government, to do the government business. Yet still, the government is at large. If there is no direction in this government, if there is no leadership in this government, they should better hand over to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to lead.
Anyway, wale mrashe bedeno ninkana yokotenu na ubekaya wa penima ne busumi eda wa fimpinuni edionu enumunu ana cheso otufo mediation committee pa ho entmani na ne se ye ba behwe ama boko entokwa ekoso ewo boko ne nimpotemu no yebetimi aso ano nanda mekase ndrada ana Ghana mapeni John Dramani Mahama pa member board chese what is kabot 1 billion Ghana cedis the mobile send be ya obeboa ama boko ntokwa ekoso ewo ho nyema SSA ewo ho no wode be yensiesie ewo ho no na yetinsema omampeni de etudwa no ebi.
There was quite an eruption since then. 2025 we received the report of the Otumfo Mediation Committee, and during the receipt of that mediation report, I announced that it was time for the guns to be silenced in Boko, and that the issue of Boko would be resolved through the lawful process, upholding our constitution and our laws, and that any other outstanding issues can be handled traditionally. there was quite an eruption since then, and I want to use this opportunity to commend the security services for remaining firm and taking action to make sure that Boko becomes safe and secure again so that people can go about their normal duties. It's taking quite some time, but I'm happy to receive the reports that Boko is safer, is quieter. We don't hear gunshots again at night. The kind of murders that took place with impunity have abated. And at the time that I received the report, I announced the Boko Revitalization Fund to be disbursed by a committee chaired by the finance minister. The allocation for the Boko Revitalization Fund has been made, and it is 1 billion Ghana cedis. And so now, with safety and security prevailing in Boko and surrounding areas, this is the time to begin implementation of the Revitalization Fund. We want Boko to recapture its former glory as a major commercial center in Ghana. As a result of the conflict, we're not able to.
And to way a Ghana man Penny John Dramani Mahama na Yokoteri and Kana Frone Dini Atremo Ewa in Self Fremo Asoya Moshe in Yuma and Alpha so Adansi wo and 7 and Demo Bo Amania as a one Subrania Atoya June Bosomenu Achese Okopiemo Ewa Kaneshi I dare say so that Toya no answer near my pa a year Nesanin Tim Penny 4 a day about to a Jawochebo essay Dr. Buzia Highway no Kaneshi Malan Quantempo no or Barbie see or Honum Equine cause say I think Pinu ni eduno ensumu ansana maybe equine no nothing so akwana bedie so etimi akoso.
Beginning 7th of September 2026, works will commence on the construction of a double-cell underground rectangular stormwater drain from Pamprum Junction to First Light Junction along the Dr. Buzia Highway within the Kaneshi Enclave. The drain to be constructed measures approximately 10 meters wide and it runs for 1.5 kilometers. And it will replace the existing 1.2 meter diameter 2-number pipes that currently serves the enclave. On one end, it will connect to the recently completed section within the Accra Academy campus. And on the other end, connect to the drain at Pamprum Junction. I'd like to use the images here to clarify the state of the works that we'll be doing. So the works, the works will span from where we have that point here, which is the Pamprum Junction, all the way to the First Light. All the way to First Light. And the work will be done in 3 phases. So the alternative routes that we are providing are the ones highlighted in blue, including, and there'll be other ones also that we'll discuss. Given the scale and location of the works, temporary road closures along the section of the Dr. Buzia Highway will be unavoidable. The Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources will be working closely with the Department of Urban Roads and has developed this comprehensive traffic management plan to ensure that traffic continues to flow safely and efficiently through the construction period. Implementation of the traffic management plan will be in phases. The first phase will begin on 7th of September 2026 with the closure of the westbound carriageway of the Dr. Buzia Highway starting from Pamprum Junction. This phase will continue till the end of November 2026. and will affect all vehicles traveling from Kolebu Mochri Road, Graphic Road, Obechebi Lamte Circle, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, all of them heading towards the Pamprom Junction and then on to the First Light traffic intersection and beyond. Affected vehicles will be required to use the Audome Cemetery Road, the New Times Corporation to Audome Roundabout, the Oblogo to Mataeko route as well, to access the First Light Junction and thereafter proceed on their journey.
So na ya da yen hoteli e ba edwede mu sem na de kechi so ye de beso.
Company Limited. So we pay blocks machines here papa. Na ne bonso assign eda form dia. Enye na enwani Answer Company Limited. Ye were conveyor blocks machines, hydraulic blocks machines, pallets, any blocks machines in one accessories in na. And na so blocks machines are who draw opening in a bin so ewo ho. To show ye chakwan ene ya. Ye was Spinters Road 18 Junction. Ye ni KFC dino ena edin she ni mum. Freye, it was 05,240 and I say 0540-725850. Amstel blocks machines in papa pa efie.
Babio Odaswa Eshe area print breakers here. I will CSTV so ediam just so mame ama before they so a dredia and I feel so sikasem and ho esem na ya bebo remo ewo omaimu mrashe bidefie don kuma omo mrashe bidefie don don kuma ba no Deni Alexander Kwame na afenyo marking na nwada wo mrashe bidefie na chese ye de bill bi eba ye tribunal bill na no ana chese sabre no na attorney general ewo honoma ewo de sabre no eba ye ma chese mrashe bidefo no etimi aje bill no etume no ana Alexander afenyo marking ede in 72 edwa wo chebo ese sabre 9 day aya sensan ase no ya de se dan kwama bi eba han pai.
Is it going to be in charge of civil matters or criminal matters? Mr. Speaker, I am asking rhetorically. Respected Leonard, you must listen to me. You have your opportunity to have a bite. This is unfair. Respected Leonard Attorney General, first gentleman at the bar. This approach is wrong. This is wrong. You have your bite. You have a bite in the mic.
Honorable Minority Leader, Honorable Attorney General, please, both of you should resume your seats.
I'm your senior.
Honorable,
but I'm your senior here, and I'm your senior here.
Both of you should resume your seats.
Chaos. That is what the tribunal will do. What you are doing is what the tribunal will do. They should let us speak.
Both of you resume your seats.
The tribunal system. This is the tribunal system. This is the tribunal
system. Honorable Minority Leader, Attorney General. Both of you should resume your seats.
System of justice. Tribunal system of justice. That's what you are practicing.
Enti sasem kreya emu July no bosomeda neto so eduasa baako wafimpinu ni eduonu ensiemu ana kyese ye passe be no ewo mrahye bedwafie na nda amekase Ghana mampini John Dramani Muhammad Nsa etintim ase akyese no adane emra ewo oman Ghana ha na ba ye koko sector no mu so a bill akyese ba ye no so wetimi asensan ase no eba beboa ama nyuma so etimi the
first is the Customs Act 2026. This voluminous document, Customs Act 2026. It incorporates all the amendments that have been done over the years into one single document. And so it codifies all the Customs Acts into this document. It makes it simpler to administer, and it will make it more efficient, and it will seal the loopholes that have made government lose a lot of revenue as a result of the scattered nature of the law. So that has just been signed, the Customs Act. Then we have the Community Service Act. This is an act to provide for non-custodial service sentences for misdemeanors and other such minor offenses. So instead of putting people in jail and government going to have to pay for looking after prisoners, a lot of prisoners, for stealing goods or for committing some very minor offenses, they can be sentenced to do community service for the period that they are convicted for. So there's the Community Services Act. Then there's the Tribunals Act. The Constitution makes provision for the establishment of regional tribunals. Parliament has passed it, and so this law gives effect to the Chief Justice to set up regional tribunals to deal with certain categories of offenses. There's the Maritime and Related Offenses Act. These are to cover crimes and offenses that are committed at sea. And it gives effect to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, which Ghana is a party to. And so this is the local domestic legislation to enforce that particular Maritime Offences Act. Then we have the Act for the National Defense University. As you are aware, we have set up a National Defense University, and this act gives effect to that university, accredits the courses, and makes it a legal and a statutory entity. So there's the National Defense University Act 2026. Then we have the Income Tax Amendment Act. This act exempts people who earn the minimum wage and below from paying income tax. And so anybody who is on the minimum wage or below the minimum wage is exempt from income tax. Then there's the Energy Sectors Levy Amendment Act.
Na yebejira in some way esone de ni atremo ewo obi maiso ensem na World Health Organization penifo na nde wobo amane ese okopiemo ewo Uganda mainmu a ebeto edwase iboda yade no ate nipa machese nipa be se duonu ede mutimi enya sa yade no ebi nipa menu also etimi efrimu nenu anande ya meka say World Health Organization paid for a day about to a dry essay one shame mapa wodi egu akwemu no uboda yadiano ebi eni eye Uganda mino emunenso waguswa eden shame mapa egu akwemu sinebeya DRC mino so sa iboda yade betimi etu ase krakra. Frank Lampard a coach at the Emma Coventry City and they obo abrante ba kwa chese ye Fred se Caleb yerenchi na wo chebu ese wabra abrante ebe piemo e wasa club no chese wo bo ne homode pa eye na mayintin sema opani ade tu dano ebi.
Yes, what we brought Caleb here for is a really, really talented young man. There's so much to his game which is going to get better. And he's a very young man, so that's great. And yeah, Tywin was ready to run behind, took it very, very clean. I was right behind it actually, and he didn't have much to aim for and got it right in the corner.
Yeah, no, it was lovely flick to be fair. It was nice play. It was a great start, like you said. Like, what was it? First 5 minutes, 2-0 up. So, yeah. Great pass from Kitchen to, I think it was Kitchen to Caleb, and a lovely weighted flick round the corner for T. There's T right there, just to put it in the bottom corner. So yeah, and then he's done it back to me. So yeah, he's done a lovely flick round the corner.
Abrantia Carlos Belaba so akwa kupiemu ewo Manchester United na wacheni ntia ochusu Manchester United maintain semode to jano ebi.
My football idol was Pogba.
Wow, yeah. Do you think you share any similar attributes to Pogba?
Yeah, I have, like when I drive the ball.
Why did you choose Manchester United? It's always the question that everyone wants answered.
I chose Manchester United because it's the biggest club in the world. When I was a kid, my dad said, I'm going to play for biggest club, and then he mentioned Manchester.
Sounds like a wise father to me to say those words. How influential has your dad been on your life?
He gave me everything, because before that he played football. He was a striker, and then he gave me this passion to play football. And then today I realized a dream.
And when you hear the words Champions League, what does that do for you?
When I heard the word Champions League, it was a dream. When I was a kid, I want to play Champions League. I want to play against the big club in the world. And today I'm in Manchester. I'm going to play the Champions League. And
na nanwada Chelsea na feso fuamede ebo enia ewie chire Chelsea etimi ebo eka miensa fuam timi eteka no emienu na fuam manager Abalo ede sebatu ejawo Chelsea de ayekase omune onimpedifo akwa setena chese wo hwe ne ebeboa ama squad no ana se omotibo so ometimi akwa nim na wo chebu edia September ne bosome no adese djumede bi ebekoso na wo hwe nim ase sa transfers a ebekoso no ye fuam so betimi enya sikabotene na omo so omotimi enya team na say players ede ababo bokuni.
During this weekend with the owners and they are fully committed to the project, and we were discussing that maybe we can make a squad a little bit stronger and more balanced, and we know that there is a room to improve. But now I'm really focused with the players that I have, trying to help them to make a good performance tomorrow, that we cannot forget that we have a final tomorrow, because if we don't win that game we are out of the competition. And yes, but I'm so happy with my squad right now.
Yebefree agudiebo asale dieni atremo ewo enijediebo aseriela eye nyumtuni nande wode atu edwa wo trebo ese okopiemo ewo eye northern regional kwantemponi bi wo ho a enya krakra ne sade ntini wode tumpenifo enim se adaroma wanko wo ho embo asene be ya obetimi aye akwan no ede amom na akwana badie so etimi akoso ye jiransen we so na kasa ye boabo anu ni nanu ye di esi ewa ha Saris Dream Jewelries Amsa Block Machinery and Block Manufacturing KS Rafimes Co Limited NAP Apartment Hotel and now face Crystal Direct Special amuna mo so ya sinde we de kase so ade ebeso mo Godfather ye trade aye ready a chese what de ya agudiebu senso ade e ba beso mo edem de so e mame ama bafwa akra